Here's something that surprises almost every senior I talk to. You can drink a full glass of water and 10 minutes later your body may have already let most of it go. Not because you did anything wrong, not because the water was bad, but because somewhere after age 65 your body quietly changes the rules on you and nobody tells you. I've seen this exact moment happen in my office more times than I can count. A patient says, "Doctor, I drink water all day. Why am I still tired? Why is my mouth still dry?" And the answer isn't what most people expect. Stay with me because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what's happening inside your body, and more importantly, the 3 simple changes that fix it. One of them takes less than 10 seconds a day. Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Alex Mandel, and for years I've worked closely with patients in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, helping them stay independent, active, and confident in their own homes. If you're watching this, chances are you or someone you love has noticed some of the small things I'm about to describe. Maybe it's feeling a little foggy in the afternoon. Maybe it's dry skin that lotion doesn't seem to fix. Maybe it's a parent who insists they're drinking plenty of water, but something still feels off. I want you to know none of this means something is wrong with you. It means your body is aging the way bodies do. And once you understand how you get to stay ahead of it instead of being caught off guard by it. Before we go further, if this is the kind of practical, no-nonsense health guidance you want more of, hit subscribe now. I cover topics like this every week, and I promise you today's video has at least one thing in it that will change how you think about your daily routine. Let's get into it. I remember speaking with a 74-year-old patient named Robert. Robert was sharp, did the crossword every morning, still drove himself to church, still argued with his son about football scores, but his daughter called my office worried. She said, "Dad seems more tired lately. He forgets things by afternoon, but he swears he's fine." When Robert came in, the first thing I asked wasn't about his memory. It was about his water bottle. He looked at me confused. "Doctor, I only drink when I'm thirsty. Always have." And that right there was the whole problem. Here's the simple truth. As we get older, the brain's thirst signal becomes less reliable. It's not that your body doesn't need water. It's that it stops telling you clearly when it does. Robert wasn't ignoring his body. His body had simply stopped raising its hand. What happened next surprised even his own daughter, because once we made one small adjustment to Robert's routine, his afternoon fog started lifting within a week. And I'll show you exactly what that adjustment was later in this video. But first you need to understand the second half of this story because thirst is only half the puzzle. Quick reminder before we continue, if you're finding this helpful, tap that like button right now. It genuinely helps this information reach more seniors and families who need it. And if you haven't already, subscribe. I'm covering the exact daily hydration checklist my patients use later in this video, and you won't want to miss it. Now let's talk about what's happening inside your kidneys because this is the part almost nobody explains simply. Think of your kidneys like a highly skilled water manager. In your 20s and 30s, that manager is sharp, holding on to water tightly when you need it, releasing extra when you don't. As we age, that manager doesn't quit the job, but it does slow down. In simple terms, older kidneys become less efficient at concentrating urine and conserving water, which means more water can pass through than your body actually wants to lose. This is a well-documented normal part of aging. Not a disease, not a failure, just a shift. I had a patient, Eleanor, 78 years old, who loved her morning garden routine. Her son noticed something was changing. She seemed unsteady by midday, sometimes gripping the porch railing a little longer than she used to. Her family assumed it was just aging, but when we looked closer, it wasn't her balance that was the root problem. It was mild dehydration building quietly day after day without a single moment of feeling thirsty to warn her. Myth versus fact. Right here, myth. If I'm not thirsty, I'm hydrated. Fact. In adults over 65, thirst can lag behind your body's actual needs, sometimes by hours. This is exactly why I tell families, don't wait for thirst as your cue. We'll get to exactly what to watch instead in a few minutes, and it's simpler than you think. This is the part I most want you to remember, because I've seen it misunderstood again and again. Mild dehydration in seniors rarely looks dramatic. It doesn't announce itself. Instead, it quietly disguises itself as afternoon fatigue that just happens now, slight dizziness when standing up, trouble concentrating, or mild confusion headaches that seem to come from nowhere, dry skin, dry mouth, or constipation, feeling unsteady on your feet. I remember a 72-year-old patient of mine, Marjorie, whose grandchildren visited every Sunday. One weekend, her grandson noticed she paused halfway up the stairs, something she'd never done before. Her family chalked it up to normal aging. She thought it was normal aging too. But when we reviewed her fluid intake, the picture became clear. She drinking any less water than usual, but her body was retaining less of it, and nobody had ever explained to her why that mattered or what to do differently. Here's the emotional part of this that I think about often. Independence isn't lost all at once. It erodes quietly, one small symptom at a time, and dehydration is one of the most overlooked, most fixable causes. What changed for Marjorie wasn't a medication. It wasn't a major lifestyle overhaul. It was something so simple, most people dismiss it as too basic to matter. I'll walk you through it in the next section because I promise you it matters more than you think. If you know someone, a parent, a spouse, a neighbor who this might apply to, share this video with them right now. Sometimes the people we love won't listen to us, but they'll listen to a doctor explaining it calmly. That's exactly why I make these videos. Here's something most people never connect to hydration at all: your medications. Many common prescriptions for blood pressure and fluid retention, diuretics in particular, are designed to help your body release more water and sodium. That's often medically necessary and appropriate, but it also means your hydration needs may be different than they were before you started that medication. I had a patient, Walter, 76 years old, on a blood pressure medication for years. His wife noticed he seemed more forgetful during hot summer afternoons, specifically not in winter, only summer. That pattern was the clue. Heat plus certain medications plus a fading thirst signal is a combination I see constantly in my practice, and it's almost always fixable once identified. This is not a reason to stop or change any medication on your own. Please never do that without talking to your prescribing doctor first. But it is a reason to have honest conversation with your physician or pharmacist about whether your fluid intake should be adjusted alongside your prescriptions. Diabetes is another factor worth mentioning. Simply, higher blood sugar can pull more water out of the body through urination, which is part of why staying properly hydrated is often discussed as part of diabetes management. None of this is meant to alarm you. It's meant to hand you a piece of the puzzle most people never get. Now, here's where I finally give you the practical part you've been waiting for. Before we move into the practical checklist, if you're over 55 and want more videos like this, subscribe now. And if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm glad you found this. Let's make this simple and usable. No complicated charts, no impossible routines. 1, drink on a schedule, not a feeling. Since thirst can't be fully trusted after a certain age, the fix isn't complicated. Build small, regular water breaks into your day, the same way you'd take a daily vitamin. Morning coffee, mid-morning glass of water, lunchtime, mid-afternoon, dinner, evening. 5 or 6 small check-ins beats waiting for a signal that may not come clearly. 2, check the color, not the clock. One of the simplest tools I give my patients: glance at urine color. Pale yellow generally suggests good hydration. Consistently dark yellow is a signal to increase fluids. It takes 2 seconds and requires no app, no device, no memorization. 3, let food help you. Foods like watermelon, cucumber, oranges, soups, and yogurt carry meaningful water content. For patients who struggle to drink large volumes at once, hydrating foods can meaningfully support total fluid intake throughout the day. 4, don't rely on water alone if you're active, unwell, or in heat. When sweating more than usual during illness, heat, or activity, fluids with a small amount of electrolytes can help your body retain water more effectively than plain water alone in those specific situations. This isn't about fancy sports drinks. It can be as simple as a piece of fruit alongside your water or an electrolyte option your doctor approves. 5, talk to your doctor about your personal number. There's no single one-size-fits-all ounce target for every senior. It depends on your medications, kidney function, heart function, and overall health. This is genuinely one of the most valuable 5-minute conversations you can have at your next appointment. Let me bring this back to Robert for a moment, the patient from the beginning of this video. This single adjustment that helped him wasn't a new medication or a strict new rule. It was simply moving from drink when thirsty to drink on a gentle schedule with a water bottle, kept visibly on his kitchen table as a reminder. Within about a week, his daughter told me his afternoon fog was noticeably better. Small change, real difference. If this checklist feels useful, do me a favor and like this video. It helps me know these practical doctor-explained videos are what you want more of. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss next week's topic. Let's clear up a few things quickly because misinformation in this space causes real unnecessary worry. Myth: drinking water is pointless after a certain age because your kidneys just get rid of it. Fact: water still hydrates you at any age. What changes is how efficiently your kidneys conserve that water and how reliably your thirst signal warns you, which is exactly why a steady, scheduled approach matters more than it used to. Myth: everyone over 65 needs the same amount of water. Fact: needs vary by medication, kidney health, heart health, and activity level. This is a personal conversation with your physician, not a universal number. Myth: if I drink enough water, I don't need to worry about electrolytes. Fact: for most daily situations, water is enough, but during illness, heat, or unusual sweating, electrolytes help your body actually hold on to the fluids you're drinking. Myth: feeling tired or foggy in the afternoon is just something you accept with age. fact, it's common, but it's also one of the most fixable, overlooked symptoms I see in my practice. Please don't dismiss it without at least reviewing hydration and medications with your doctor. I want to step away from the medical explanations for a moment because I think this is the part that actually matters most. When Marjorie's grandson noticed her pause on the stairs, it wasn't really about the stairs. It was about a family quietly starting to wonder, is grandma going to be okay living alone much longer? That question is heavy, and I've watched it sit on the shoulders of so many adult children. Here's what I want you to take from this video. So much of what gets labeled just aging is actually something manageable, something as unglamorous and simple as hydration. Staying properly hydrated supports your energy, your focus, your balance, and yes, your independence, not as a cure-all, but as one real evidence-based piece of staying steady on your feet, sharp in conversation, and confident living the way you want to live. Now, that's not fear, that's not exaggeration, that's just something worth taking seriously, the same way you take a daily walk or a doctor's appointment seriously. We're almost at the most important part of this video, the one thing I want you to remember above everything else. Before we get there, if you haven't liked or subscribed yet, now's a great time. It really does help. If you remember nothing else from this video, remember this. After a certain age, thirst is no longer a reliable alarm system, so hydration has to become a habit, not a reaction. That's it. That's the whole shift. Not a scary diagnosis, not a complicated medical mystery, just a quiet change in how your body communicates with you. And now that you understand it, you can work with it instead of being caught off guard by it. Robert still does his crossword every morning. Marjorie's grandchildren still visit every Sunday, and she meets them at the door instead of pausing halfway up the stairs. Walter and his wife now keep an eye on his hydration, specifically during summer months in partnership with his doctor. None of these are dramatic transformations. They're small, steady, quiet wins, and honestly, those are the ones that matter most in daily life. If you've watched this far, I want to genuinely thank you. Taking 20 minutes out of your day to understand your own body or the body of someone you love is exactly the kind of quiet, unglamorous care that adds years of independence and comfort to a life. Here's what I'd love for you to do next first. If you have a parent, spouse, or friend this applies to, send them this video today, not next week, today. A 5-minute conversation now can prevent a much harder conversation later. Second, subscribe if you haven't already. I make these videos because I believe seniors and their families deserve clear, honest, doctor-explained information. Not fear, not hype, just the truth explained simply. And third, leave a comment below and tell me, did any part of this remind you of yourself or someone you love? I read every single one, and honestly, they help me know exactly what to cover next. Take care of yourself. I'll see you in the next video.